Hello everyone, today I want to share my materials which is that talks about procedures or stage of problem solving students in school. In learning activities at schools, of course, various student characteristics will be found. There are students who can take their learning activities smoothly and successfully without facing difficulties, but on the other hand, there are also many students who experience various difficulties in their learning. Student learning difficulties are indicated by certain obstacles to achieving learning outcomes and can be physiological, sociological, and physiological, so that in the end they can cause the learning achievement they achieve to be below what they should be. There are several problems that often occur in students. There are 5 types problems learning usually occur in students. The first is learning disorder. Learning disorder is state in which a person's learning process is disrupted due to conflicting response. The second is learning dysfunction. Learning dysfunction is a symptom in which the learning process carried out by students does not function properly, even though the students does not actually show any mental abnormalities in the 5 sense, or other psychological disorders. The third is underachiever. Underachiever refers to students who actually have a level of intellectual potential that is classified as above normal, but their learning achievement is classified as low. The fourth is slow learner. Slow learner is a student who is slow in the learning process, so it takes longer than a group of other students who have the same level of intellectual potential. And the last is learning disabilities. Learning disabilities refer to symptoms where students are unable to learn or avoid learning, so that learning outcomes are below their intellectual potential. Any sum of behaviors that are manifestation of learning difficulties include: shows low learning outcomes, below the average value achieved by the group or below its potential. The results achieved are not balanced with the efforts that have been made. Maybe there are students who have tried hard to study, but the grades they get are always low. Slow in carrying out their learning activities and always lagging behind their friends from the time provided. Shows unnatural attitudes such as indifference, resistance, pretending, lying, and so on. Shows abnormal behavior such as truancy, arriving late, not doing homework, interrupting in or out of class, refusing to take notes, being disorganized in learning activities, and so on. Shows emotional symptoms that are not normal, such as moody, irritable, angry, not or less happy in dealing with certain situations. For example, in dealing with low scores, not showing feelings of sadness or regret, and so on. After seeing and knowing the types of problems that occur in students along with the manifestation of their symptoms, let's move on to student problem-solving stage. The stage of solving student problems can be through the assistance provided by counseling teachers. What are the procedures or stage of solving student problems that can be carried out by counseling teachers? Here are the steps. The first stage is identification of case. That is an attempt by a counseling teacher to find information about students who are thought to have problems. Gathering information can be in various ways. You can ask the student directly, ask the homeroom teacher of the student, or through the evaluation of the student's learning outcomes. The second stage is identify the problem. That is the stage of identifying what problems occur to students after being examined or the collection of student data. The third stage is diagnosis. At this stage, the counseling teacher conducts a search for the cause of the problem that occurs to the student. The counseling teacher can find out by monitoring the student's behavior, asking the student class teacher, the student's friend, or even the student's parents if needed. After doing the previous 3 stages, the counseling teacher can go to the prognosis stage. Prognosis is the stage of looking for alternative assistance in accordance with the student's problem. Example of assistance that can be done by counseling teacher are doing therapy. It can be in the form of empty chair therapy, talking mirrors, and etc. The next stage is treatment. Treatment is the stage where the counseling teacher chooses one of the therapies that have been prepared at the prognosis stage that is most suitable for the student. The last stage is evaluation or follow-up. After treatment, counseling teachers need to do an evaluation or follow-up, which aims to see whether the treatment given to the student is successful or not. There are several assessments seen from the length of time the guidance and counseling teacher supervises the student after therapy. That is, the first, immediate assessment. That is the assessment carried out for 1 until 3 weeks after therapy. The second, short-term assessment. That is assessment carried out for 6 months after therapy was carried out on the student. And the last is long-term assessment, which is an assessment that is carried out for 1 year or until the student moves up a grade. The last thing that will be discussed is the criteria for the success and effectiveness of the service provided. There are several things that are signs that the assistance service provided to the student have been successful. Service assistant is said to be successful, that is if students are aware the problems they are facing. Students have understood the problems faced. Students have begun to show a willingness to accept the reality of themselves and the problem objectively. Students have decreased emotional tension. Students have ordered opposition to their environment. Students begin to show their ability to consider, make choice, and make decisions in a healthy and rational manner. Students have demonstrated the ability to make improvements and adaptation efforts to their environment in accordance with the basic consideration and decision they have taken. That is from my material. I hope what I share can be useful for you all. Thank you for listening and bye-bye.